Srinivas Govinda, Srinivas Govinda, Jaya Srinivas Govinda. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajaka Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON Sansthapak Acharya, Savior of the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Chapter 7, The Killing of the Demon Trinavrata. Text number 9. Uchuhu Abhyavasita Matihi Uchur Abhyavasita Matin Gopan Gopihicha Balakaha Gopan Gopischa Balakaha Rudatanena Padena Rudatanena Padena Kshiptam Etat Na Samsayaha Kshiptam Etan Na Samshayaha Uchurabhyavasita Maten Gopan Gopischa Balakaha Rudatanena Padena Kshiptam Etan Na Samsayaha Uchurabhyavasita Maten Gopan Gopischa Balakaha Rudatanena Padena Kshiptam Etan Na Samsayaha Uchurabhyavasita Maten Gopan Gopischa Balakaha Rudatanena Padena Kshiptam Etan Na Samshayaha Uchurabhyavasita Maten Gopan Gopischa Balakaha Padena Mataji Uchurabhyavasita Maten Gopan Gopimscha Balakaha Rudatanena Padena Kshiptametanna samsayaha. What word meaning? Uchuhu said, Abhyavasita maten, who had lost all intelligence in the present situation. Gopan, to the cowherd men. Gopihicha, and to the ladies. Balakaha, the children. Rudata anena, as soon as the child cried. Padena, with one leg. Kshiptam etad, this cart was dashed apart and immediately fell dismantled. Na samsayaha, there is no doubt about it. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. Is it the work of some demons or evil planet? They asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. As soon as the crying baby had kicked the cart's wheel, the cart had collapsed. There was no doubt about it. Translation with repetition. The assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. Is it the work of some demon or evil planet? They asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. As soon as the crying baby had kicked the cart's wheel, the cart had collapsed. There was no doubt about it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We have heard of peoples being haunted by ghosts. Having no gross material body, a ghost seeks shelter of a gross body to stay in and haunt. The Sakatasura was a ghost who had taken shelter of the handcart and was looking for the opportunity to do mischief to Krishna. When Krishna kicked the cart with his small and very delicate legs, the ghost was immediately pushed down to the earth and his shelter dismantled, as already described. This was possible for Krishna because he was full of potency, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Krishna's body is Sachidananda Vigraha or Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha. That is, any of the parts of his Ananda Chinmaya body can act for any other part. Such are the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord does not need to acquire these potencies. He already has them. Thus Krishna kicked his little legs and his whole purpose was fulfilled. Also, when the handcart broke, an ordinary child could have been injured in many ways. But because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enjoyed the dismantling of the cart and nothing injured him. Everything done by him is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, full transcendental bliss. Thus Krishna factually enjoyed. The nearby children saw that actually Krishna had kicked the wheel of the cart and this was how the accident happened. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, all the gopis and gopas thought that the accident had taken place because of some bad planet or some ghost. But in fact, everything was done by Krishna and enjoyed by him. Those who enjoy the activities of Krishna are also on the platform of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. They are liberated from the material platform. When one develops the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is certainly transcendental to material existence, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Unless one is on the spiritual platform, one cannot enjoy the transcendental activities of Krishna. Or in other words, whoever engages in hearing the transcendental activities of Krishna is not on the material platform. but on the transcendental spiritual platform. Thus ends the wonderful Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's a wonderful verse. I'm very thankful to Vikram Prabhu, Sanatan Prabhu and other devotees for giving me this opportunity to discuss something from the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the ashraya, or taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. And this verse that we are having is a beautiful verse where it is mentioned, Uchur abhyavasita matin gopan gopis cha balakaha rudatanena padena kshiptam etan na samshaya. In our second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we hear this verse, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahu shakhahi anantascha buddhayo abhyavasayina. Vyavasayatmika buddhi is a buddhi which has got no distractions. It's a resolute determination, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. And here, abhyavasita matin which has lost all its intelligence. Uchur abhyavasita matin, gopan gopischa. So whose intelligence is lost? It is Gopan and Gopis. Gopan to the cowherd men, and Gopi cha and to the ladies. Uchuhu. Uchuhu is balakaha. Balakaha is plural. At least those of you who have tried to learn Sanskrit, the first thing that we learn is balakaha, balako, balakaha, isn't it? Balakaha is in plural. So balakaha uchu. So the balakaha, the children spoke. To whom? Balakaha uchu, to Gopan and Gopimscha. Who are these Gopan and Gopims? Abhyavasita matin, whose intelligence was lost, who had lost all their intelligence. Balakaha uchu, Gopan Gopimscha abhyavasita matin. What did they speak? Rudatanena padena kshiptam etan na samshayaha. Rudatanena padena. As soon as the child cried, which is referring to Krishna, as soon as the child cried, padena, with one leg, kshiptam etan na samshaya. Kshiptam etat is translated by Prabhupada as, this cart was dashed apart and immediately fell dismantled. So, na samsaya, there is no doubt about it. So the balakaha, the children, are saying to Gopan and Gopis, who were abhyavasita matin, whose intelligence was lost, that rudatanena padena, when Krishna cried, with just the touch of his leg, padena, kshiptam, this whole cart was dismantled. Kshiptam etan, na samshaya, there is no doubt about it. The assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. Gopan Gopimscha abhyavasita matin. And this, whatever Prabhupada is writing, because that is not there in the translation, but Prabhupada is giving this additional this thing which is coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, where it is mentioned, is it the work of some demon or evil planet? They asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that, so balakaha uchuhu, that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. Kshiptam etan. As soon as the crying baby, rudatanena, crying baby had kicked the cart's wheel, padena kshiptam, the cart had collapsed. And there is no doubt about it. Etanna samshaya. This is the verse that we have. It's a very beautiful purport. There are many interesting points which Prabhupada is making. So we will see some of these points. So one of the things which is I mean, if you see Prabhupada's presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is so scientific and which is so brilliant, um, it can give satisfaction to person who seems to be advanced. It can give hope to people who are starting their Krishna consciousness, and also people who are in between also can relish this. So if you pay attention to the words, one of the words which is used here is Kshiptam etan na samshayah. Samshaya is there is no doubt about it, isn't it? One of the primary ingredient for advancing in spiritual life is Shraddha. Very important. Shraddha. If you don't have, then if you have doubts on this process, if you have doubts that this thing would have happened, how is it that a small baby can kick the cart? Actually, a few verses before, it is mentioned Krishna's feet as very tender. Mrudu angri hatam. Pravala mudu angri hatam. Just like a new leaf, struck by his beautiful, delicate legs. It's the beauty of Krishna. Krishna doesn't have to do something extraordinary, like the dwarf Bhamana had to extend his leg, or to kill Hiranyakashipu, the Lord has to appear as half man, half lion. But not in the incarnation, as not when Krishna comes personally himself. He just touched. He didn't make his feet look like very strong with muscles bulging out, and then kicked that cart, and the cart tore apart and just fell like some Telugu movie. This thing happens, right? The trains will fly or something. None of those. He just touched like this, and the cart fell down. Cart got dismantled, scattered. And the word that is used is Kshiptam etan na samshaya. If you see in Bhagavad Gita 2.41, Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakhahi anantascha buddhayo abhyavasainam. In that purport, Prabhupada gives the definition of Shraddha. Shraddha sabde vishwasa kahe sudruda nishchaya Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma kritta hoy. Shraddha sabde vishwasa kahe sudruda nishchaya. Firm determination that if I take up to Krishna consciousness, all other things will be taken care. Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma kritta hoy. Very important ingredient in this faith. We all know this story which Prabhupada mentions about Narad Muni's travel to the Vaikuntha Loka, and on his journey towards Vaikuntha Loka, he met first the Brahmana, and the Brahmana said, "Oh, Narad Muni, seems you are going on some place, some pilgrimage." He said, yeah, I'm going to Vaikuntha. I'm going to meet the Lord of Vaikuntha, Vaikuntapati. So he asked, okay, can you ask the Lord how long it will take for me to go back home, back to Godhead? He said, definitely, I'll find out and I'll get back to you. And then he goes on his way. He also met a cobbler. Cobbler was also busy doing his work, and he saw Narad Muni very happy, started dancing in joy, and asked, where are you heading to, Narad Muni? Narad Muni said, I'm going to the Vaikuntha Loka. I'm going to meet the Lord over there. So he also asked the same question. Can you find out from the Lord how long it will take for me to go back to Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka? Narad Muni said, okay, I'll find out. So Narad Muni went to Vaikuntha, saw the Lord was sitting there, and then he said, Narayana, Narayana, had a lot of discussion. He was about to leave, and that time Narayana told him, oh, you wanted to ask me about that cobbler and the Brahmana? Because the Lord is there in the heart of everybody, right? So he knew it. Said, yes, I wanted to know. So then Vishnu said that the Brahmana is going to take millions of lifetimes, whereas the cobbler is going to come back at the end of this life. So Narad Muni could not believe. He said, did I hear correctly? He said, yes. And you want to know why? Then you just go and tell, when you met me, you tell them that I was trying to put an elephant through the eye of the needle. So he heard that and he went. Then first he went to the Brahmana. So Brahmana saw, oh, Narad Muni, you came back so soon. Yeah, because you travel, so swiftly. Your plane is different. You can go and come back. Did you meet the Lord? He said, yes. So what did the Lord say? He said that, you're going to take millions of lifetimes. He said, then probably you would have not met Narayana, you would have met somebody else maybe. He said, no, I met Narayana. Okay, what was he doing when you met him? So he said he was trying to pull an elephant through the eye of the needle. He said, Narad Muni, probably you are out of your mind, you must go and visit some mental doctor or something. Didn't believe in him. Then he goes to the cobbler. Cobbler gives him a bench to sit, washes his feet and asked him, so did you meet the Lord? He said, yes. And said, what did the Lord say? Or what was the Lord doing? And he said that he was trying to pull that elephant through the eye of the needle. And hearing that, the cobbler was so happy, he was dancing in ecstasy and joy. And then he asked, what else the Lord said? Narad Muni first asked him, did you understand? What did I say you? I mean, what, did you digest that or not? He said, yes, of course. What is the problem in that? I am sitting under this banyan tree for such a long time, and I've been doing my thing. I mean, I do my work underneath this banyan tree. The Lord, who is so powerful, who has got the potency of putting this entire banyan tree in a small seed, what is it impossible for him? If he wants, he certainly can pull an elephant through the eye of the needle. So that faith is very important. Na samshaya. There is no doubt about it. If you read Bhagavad Gita carefully, in many places Krishna talks about this. In 3rd chapter, 31st verse, Krishna says, Ye me matamidam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanta anasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhi. Ye me matamidam. This is my opinion. O Arjuna, this is my opinion. Ye me matamidam anutishtanti manavaha. Those people who take up to this transcendental knowledge with faith, shraddhavanta anasuyanta, and free from envy. Most people are envious of Krishna. Why only Krishna, Krishna? Why you are worshipping Krishna? Shraddhavanto anasuyanto. If you are engaging in faith, free from envy, then you will become free from all the bondage of your karmic reactions. So, muchyante tepi karmabhi. And in the very next verse he says, in 32, Yetvo etad abhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana bimudam stan viddhi nashtana chetasa. But if you don't have faith, if you disregard these teachings, you may be very knowledgeable person, but you'll be sarvajnanan bimudam stan viddhi nashtana chetasa. He will be considered befooled and doomed to ignorance and bondage, and he'll be bereft of all knowledge. So this Shraddha in our spiritual life is a very important thing. Even in 4th chapter, Krishna says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara samyata indriya. What is that? The next line, Prabhu. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara samyata indriya. Achirenadhi gacchati. Param santim achirenadhi gacchati. 440. Jnanam labdhva param santim achirenadhi gacchati. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. If we have this faith, strong faith in this, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara samyata indriya, and we are controlling the senses. Jnanam labdhva param santim. Immediately we get santim, peacefulness. Achirenadhi. It doesn't take a long time. Achirenadhi gacchati. In Bhagavatam there is this verse which talks about, like you water the root of the tree and everything else is taken care. All the parts of the trees, the twigs, the branches, the leaves, everything gets nourished. Or like you put the food in your mouth, it goes to the belly and all parts of the body are getting nourished. Similarly, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krittaha. Krishna Bhakti, if you engage in devotional service to Krishna, everything is taken care. If somebody says, all my life, it's been 40 years or whatever X number of years, I have lived life in one way, I'm putting food in my mouth, let me try something different today. Instead of putting in my mouth, Navadware Pure Dehi, we have got 9 holes, 2 nostrils, 2 ear holes, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, 2 ear holes, mouth, the genital and the anus. I'll try in some different hole today. So good luck with that, but it will not work, right? Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. There is another thing that we have to mention, we have to remember that this faith it should not be a blind faith. It is a very scientific faith. And the presentation of Prabhupada is always Krishna consciousness is a science. It's not about faith or it's not about a belief. If you see in Bhagavatam in the beginning, the first canto, when the sages are asking questions to Sutta Goswami in Naimisharanya, one of the verses that they say is a beautiful verse. Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshava ati martyani bhagavan gudha kapata manusha. Very beautiful verse. Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshava ati martyani bhagavan gudha kapata manusha. So these activities which Krishna performs are wonderful. So they want to know, Kritavan, what did he do? Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshava. Along with Balaram, Keshava, the killer of Kesi demon, saha ramena keshava ati martyani. The Vedic literatures have got a very unique way of addressing people like us. Oh, you who are about to die, martyani. Doesn't feel very good, It's very insulting. Do you call somebody, hey, you're about to die. Come on, man, I've got better names. You can tell me in some little polite way. No, but the Vedic literatures are telling us to awaken us, to tell us that, this place is a Martya Loka. Ati Martyani Bhagavan. So, very interestingly, if you pay attention, these are all very wonderfully, Prabhupada explains this in the purport also of that verse 1.1.20. Martyani. So, we are all about to die. Doesn't matter whether you like it or not. Doesn't matter whether you care for it or not. Death is going to come. Just because you say that I love death, death is not going to change its mind and say that, okay, maybe this person is loving me, so I should spare him. Doesn't happen. There's a very nice story which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says. It's a very interesting story. There was a man from Bengal. He thought he will hoodwink death. Hoodwink is to trick or deceive death. Somehow he had some power. He got to know that he's about to die. And he was a sculptor. So what he did was he built 3 identical looking sculptures of himself. And amongst those 3 identical looking sculptures, he hid himself. So, the time of death came and the messengers of Yamaraj, they came and they were confused. Instead of 1 man, they're seeing 4 people standing there. So they immediately SMS'd or whatever, WhatsApped, Yamaraj, there is problem. We need your help. Probably doesn't happen so often, but somebody is trying to outsmart us. So Yamaraj came there. Yamaraj came and then they were all standing in one pose like this. Everybody was like this, including that man who was hiding himself amongst those 4 people. So Yamaraj walked past from first to the last, and then again he walked back from the last to the first, and then again came and stopped in one place, and he said, this seems to have some defect. Under the right ear, there seems to be some problem. The moment he uttered these words, the actual person came out. How can you say this? There is absolutely no fault. I have done this. This is faultless. Thank you very much. Please come, isn't it? So nobody can outsmart death. No matter what you try, how much you try, death is going to come, and this is a reality. So then, what should we do? What should we do if death is for sure? It's certain. No, we should prepare ourselves. We should prepare ourselves because this is the final frontier of all our knowledge. If that knowledge is going to come to an end at the final frontier, what is the use of that? If all our reputation is going to come to an end at the final frontier, what is the use of that? So when we say that, some people say, you all are very pessimistic. You all talk about death, as if, you are not going to die. No, we are also going to die, but there is a quality of every incident that happens to us. Based on the activities that we are performing, we can decide, we can know what kind of a death we will have. Somebody who's engaging in devotional service, starting from hearing the glories of the Lord, can overcome death, can transcend death. Often you ask people, why does somebody how does somebody die? What happens? What makes a person die? Maybe the scientists will say that, the cells start degenerating and so on and so forth, or some reasons they will give. Maybe this organ starts failing. So many things they can come up. Some of the philosophers can say that maybe somebody is becoming old and invalid, and then very soon he embraces death. But our Vedic scriptures are telling, if you have taken birth, you have to die. You are dying just because you have taken birth, nothing else. So the whole purpose of this Vedic literature is to ensure that we overcome death, we transcend death. That is why Atimartyani, transcending death, is like you become Amar, or you become immortal. Sometimes people who do not know, they think that the residents or the inhabitants of heavenly planet, they are immortal, they are Amar. But it is not true. It's actually just an advertisement that the devatas are immortal. I was hearing in one of the classes of Rajiv Lochan Prabhu, where he was giving some graphic example of what happens in the heavenly planet. Very interesting. He was telling, suppose you have done a lot of pious credits, and if you have done a lot of pious credits, you will be elevated to the heavenly planets. But so the context where he was mentioning about this is, there is this family of Bakasura, Putana, and they are families. And in that, this Bakasura, Aghasura and Putana, they are one family. So this Aghasura, when we hear in the 10th canto, where he took this gigantic form of his serpent, it was a huge mystical serpent, and it was almost touching the sky. The demigods were scared of death. So in that context, he's talking about this, about demigods. He was mentioning that you've done a lot of pious work, you've done a lot of pious activities, then you'll be elevated to the heavenly planet. So when you go to the heavenly planet, what happens is somebody will welcome you. Somebody will welcome you with a garland. Oh, you have come, very nice. What do you want? The menu card will be given. You want to fly in an airplane with a nice garden all around, with dancing apsaras, damsels. All these things, whatever you tick, everything will be given to you. It's like Prabhu was mentioning. It's like suppose you have booked like a vacation, and you have pre-planned through some agent. You've given money, so you reach that destination. You arrive at the airport. Somebody is standing with a placard. Oh, welcome, so and so. So you're feeling so happy. Car is booked. Then they take you, and then there is a hotel. You stay there and nicely enjoy and all those things. But you can't live there permanently. Right? You have a time. You've booked your vacation for 7 days, and that's all you have. So something similar happens to anybody who goes to heaven, where they welcome you with this nice garland, and I've been given this garland. But unlike this garland, the garland which is given in the heaven, that garland, the flowers don't, they remain fresh. They don't become, they don't wither. They don't become pale. So you are wearing that garland, and you have to keep wearing that garland all the time. But like in material world, the old age is heralded by seeing some gray hair or some wrinkles or something like that. One petal of one flower one day will become withered, and it will fall. So slowly you see that one flower has completely become withered. Then the next flower has become withered. And then it's a matter of time, when all the flowers have become completely withered, you will be taken away from that. You will be whisked away from that place to another place. So when the heavenly planet, it is considered that it is Amar, or where there is people are immortal. What it means is there is no death, but as soon as your pious credit is over, Kshine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. Kshine Punye. Once your pious credit is over, you are taken away from that. So it's like somebody who's about to die in a hospital. People have known, now the doctor has known that this person the time has come, nothing much we can do. They will immediately transfer him from that hospital to another hospital. So our records are 100%. Nobody dies here. But actually, the person is dying somewhere else. Something like that. The person is taken away from heavenly planet to some other place. That is what is the definition. It's just an advertisement, but it is not true. Amara. But Atimartyani Bhagavan. Atimartyani Bhagavan. Prabhupada's translation of that word Atimartyani in that verse is superhuman. Atimartyani. They are not ordinary human beings. Sometimes people see some photos of Krishna Balaram somewhere. They say they look like human beings. No, Krishna, Balaram, because they have got 2 hands, 2 legs, we are like them, not like they are like us. So, and they're Bhagavan, they're full of potencies. Just a little touch of Krishna's feet can, dismantle the cart. There is a verse in Bhagavatam which is a very interesting verse, which says why Krishna comes as a human being, and what happens when he comes as a human being. This verse is very interesting. It's in the 10th canto, 33rd chapter, 26th verse. No. 36th verse. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusam dehamastitah bhajate tadrisha krida yah shrutva tatparo bhavet. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear about them to become dedicated to him. Anugrahaya bhaktanam, to give mercy to his devotees. Manusam dehamastita, the Lord accepts a human-like body. Manusam dehamastita. Bhajate tadrishi krida, and he does so wonderful things. I mean, or your mind wants to see some whatever, and I don't know, some Netflix or somewhere, Six Flags, you want to go or watch something. So many allurements, so many attractions. No, but here Krishna Gatha. Bhajate tadrishi krida, it is so attractive. Yash shrutva tatparo bhavet. So only one reason why the Lord appears. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear about them to become dedicated to him. So this is the beauty of Krishna's pastimes. But sometimes we don't understand, and one of the reasons why we don't understand, and probably with that I'll close, and there are some other very interesting points which Prabhupada is mentioning about hearing Krishna Katha. Maybe some other time we will discuss. But why we don't understand this Krishna's pastimes? Why it is that this knowledge doesn't strike us? If it is so attractive, if it is so nice that it can capture our mind, it can make our mind completely free from all the contaminations, why are we not getting attracted to this? It's very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita. If you read carefully, it is given in the 14th chapter. Recently, the last time that I had gone to India, I had gone to, for this in Kartik to Vrindavan. From there, I had gone to Dehradun. And in Dehradun, when I went, there is a Akshay Patra kitchen which is there, big space which is being taken by the Akshay Patra kitchen. And the employees are staying in, there are some employee quarters where they're staying in that place. And the temple is there right next to this. It's a small house where the Nitai Gauranga deities are there. So one of the days when I was there in Dehradun, in the evening, maybe around 6:30 or so, there was a loud wailing, lot of crying, wailing, sobbing, men, women, children, all were crying. So it was continuing for a long time. And then we found out what has happened. So somebody told that one employee has passed away. So there is a death in the family, and everybody was crying and sobbing. Something like this, when it happens, we just don't know how to deal with it. What is the reason? Very interestingly, Krishna talks about this and why we are not getting attracted to this transcendental knowledge or spiritual life is very nicely given in the 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is entitled as the 3 modes of material nature. In that there is a verse which comes. It says, Sattvat sanjayate jnanam, rajas lobha evacha, pramada moho tamaso, bhavato jnanam evacha. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. If you really want to know about the spiritual knowledge, first you have to come to Sattvaguna. Sattvat sanjayate. Sanjayate. Jayate means to take birth. Sanjayate. In the mode of goodness, jnana comes. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. Rajas lobha evamcha. If you are in the mode of passion, lobha evacha. Lobha is all greedy, or to become successful, to achieve something in this life, that greed. Rajas lobha evacha. Pramada moho tamasa. And tamasa or tamas, the symptom of somebody who is in the mode of ignorance, pramada. Pramada is madness, and moha is illusion. Pramada moho tamaso bhavato ajnanam evacha. And this is, ajnana is nonsense. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops. And from the mode of, passion, grief develops. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develop. So because most of us are under the influence of this passion and ignorance, we don't know, or there is no interest, there is no, somehow if we get to come to the stage of goodness, then sattvat sanjayate jnanam. And in this context, Prabhupada is quoting about sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. When one develops the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is certainly transcendental to material existence as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this chapter, if you see how Krishna ends this, where he talks about this beautiful verse, Gunan etan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkher vimukta amrutam ashnute. We are meant to transcend these three modes of material nature. Gunan etan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan. The deha is subjected to janma mrityu jara vyadi. Janma mrityu jara dukkher vimuktam amrutam ashnute. But the dehi is meant to be beyond these three modes of material nature. Gunan etan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkher vimukta amurtam ashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age and their distresses, and can enjoy the nectar even in this life. Vimukta amrutam ashnute. So if we can overcome these three modes of material nature, which is possible by sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate mam choyo abhya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate. If we engage in devotional service, abhya vicharena, without becoming, vyavicari is becoming asati. Abhya vicharena, by being chaste to Krishna, by being chaste in our mind, in our body, in our words, not having anything else, not allowing the mind to go here and there. By being chaste, by being chastely engaged in Krishna continuously, then we can cross over this gunan etan atityatrin dehi deha samadbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkher vimuktam amrutam ashnute. So these are some of the points from this verse. There is a lot of things that can be discussed, but this pastimes of Krishna, especially in the 10th canto, are so attractive. If somebody pays attention and hears it and absorbs his mind, he can definitely cross over these three modes of material nature and experience nectar. Let's stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. Yes, Mataji. Mm-hmm. Okay, blind belief, the classic example which Prabhupada gives is that of that marriage ceremony where there was a cat which was doing some disturbance, and they brought one basket to put the cat under that. And after that also, many years later, when there was another marriage, the bride and the groom, they were about to exchange garlands. They, oh, stop. In our family, there is a tradition that we have to bring a cat from somewhere, we have to bring a basket from somewhere, put the basket on top of the cat, then only the marriage will get over. Right? What is the rationale behind this? What is the scientific this thing in this? Simply some blind belief. Right? Scientifically means you don't surrender your intelligence, but you use your intelligence to see things. Like Prabhupada says, or Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyate. It's not a faith. It's not that only Hindus go through this transformation of bodies. It's not that only Indians go through this transformation of body. It's not that only African poor people go through this transformation. Doesn't matter who you are. You have taken birth, you will take birth as a baby. Then as you grow, as time passes by, your body changes. Every single day our body is changing. Every single moment it is changing. In fact, the scientists say that every 7 years, the entire cells in our body completely gets changed. So when we are taking birth as a baby. Then we are growing, we are going to school, we are going to college. And for sure, this body is going to change and we will accept an old body. And that body will die. So whether it is time, whether it is your father, he took birth as a baby. Whether it is his father, he also took birth as a baby. Whether it is place, whether it is Africa, India, America, wherever it is the same. Not like, America, it is advanced, so people will take birth as sweet 16. Doesn't happen. Baby. And then they have to, they're changing diapers, and then they grow, and then they'll become old and die. So circumstances, Biden was there, now Trump has come, things will become different? No, sir. Sorry to disappoint you, but it will not change. It will be the same. These are scientific things, not based on some faith. Not because this is given in Bhagavad Gita, I have to believe. No, you see it. So when we see scientifically, and when we understand the way Prabhupada presents, then it is not a blind faith. Whole Bhagavad Gita is a great science. It's a fact that we are under the influence of 3 modes of material nature. That is why we are associating or identifying ourselves with the body. And there is a scientific way of transcending these 3 modes of material nature. When you follow this, and you will amrutam ashnut, then you will enjoy nectar even in this body, in this material world. There's nothing to worry about. We'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.